Welcome back. Last week, Pastor Jones have discussed regarding masturbation with Pastor Solomon George. And this week, we are continuing with the discussion with some other aspects as per the interest of public. So let's go to the next question. What can be done if I'm wrongly introduced to masturbation? Yes, Pastor Solomon, what is your opinion about the same?
Okay, so the question here is, what can I do if I'm wrongly introduced? The thing is, majority of people or majority of the teenagers or children, whoever gets to know about this concept of masturbation, a vast majority gets it from the wrong source.
Yes.
It's either from a friend or from a family member who's trying to take advantage, and this is all. It's not from a right channel.
Yes.
It's not scientific knowledge, or it's not something that is being taught to a person. Even if you assess the curriculum being used for sex education or things like that, masturbation is not part of it.
Right.
They do not speak about it. Then the other source that they would have would be directly to go to the internet, to Google things, or get whatever information they can from sites like Wikipedia or any of those sites. So it's not necessary that they get access to the right information.
Correct.
Any website that they go to, it is an opinion of a certain person. Maybe it may be right, it may not be right. So the thing is, very few number of people actually resource or know to resource information from the right person.
Correct.
And a huge amount of people, huge proportion of people, they are even if, let's say that I'm asking someone that I'm confident that I can ask this to, or let's say that it's a family member, there is no assurance that this person will not take advantage of that child or that person. So what is happening there is it is starting as a person who wants to know about this, trying to find information, trying to resource information, but then it's leading to something completely deviant. It's leading to something as bad as abuse.
Right.
What do you think?
See, Solomon, whatever points you have said, actually, one line I can say is the concept of masturbation is introduced to each and every person in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can do is actually we can generally categorize the introduction of the concept of masturbation age-wise.
Yes.
So we can see in children maybe can be introduced at very young age.
Yes.
Maybe during adolescent or maybe little more adulthood.
Yeah.
So children mainly being introduced in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing what we can think about is the cuddling way. The thing is, parents are asked to express love to children, and children are being expressed their love by cuddling or hugging.
Yeah.
So the parents may cuddle them and they're together. So what happened, we need to actually address them that they should not cuddle a stranger the way they are cuddling their parents or their loved ones or known person, because we really don't know what is the intention of the other person.
True.
So when our child is going to cuddle a person, we don't know what is the kind of stimulus that person is getting by being attached to our child or to that particular person.
True.
For that person, that is the XY person is going to sleep with the child, for him it's a stimulus for masturbation.
Possible.
And this can be a sign or an initiation of child abuse. This way the child is asked to help him for masturbation, and the concept has been inculcated into his life. So this way we can think about, and there are cases that at the age of 3 and 4, when the parents has been to work or whatever, the children has been kept with the neighbors, and sisterly figures can tell them, let's go and have a play, or let's have a game, or if you want something, play this with me, then I'll be with you. So this masturbation or self-stimulation can be taught, and the child will copy the same thing, because for him or her it's an act of play.
Yes.
And we know that actually at the age of 1 to 3, they always fondle their private part. So for them it's a fun.
Yes.
So when someone is telling you to do, it's all the more fun. So this can be a very early stage of introduction of masturbation.
True.
And parents may not know about it, and kids also won't understand what is happening to them. Another way at very early ages, the kissing scenes or intimate scenes, that lovemaking scenes, what is seen on a movie can trigger a person.
Yes.
But
Definitely.
he or she may not understand it is the starting of masturbation. So these are the the primitive ways of introduction of masturbation at a very young age. So this is all about childhood. Coming to adolescent, what do you think? Any other way we can introduce or we can expect any kind of introduction about masturbation?
So with adolescents, the thing is, with boys, it's a different scenario.
Right.
So they have this phenomena of nightfalls or wet dreams and things like that. So when this happens, it creates curiosity in them,
Right.
and they try to find out what this is. They will maybe talk to some friends or something. So generally, it's the peer group or maybe some person that he can ask this question without being ashamed of it, or he any person that he can approach, he won't ask this because he's also shy about this. He won't ask this to maybe his parents or anyone that will possibly help him understand what this is. So what happens is, people the general consensus is you are not masturbating, so this is happening. So at that point, to adolescent boys, masturbation is suggested as a remedy for avoiding nightfalls.
But the concept of what is there in female is totally different. As you said, that puberty can be seen by this nightfalls or wet dreams, but there is no nightfalls or wet dreams in women or in a girl.
True.
So we need to understand that out of curiosity, a boy will go to a friend or the loved one to ask what it is, to know it. He may go in, but women is not in that of category. The women or the girls need to be introduced what is masturbation, because she doesn't have any kind of this particular thing. So we need to understand that the woman is actually away from the concept of masturbation. Now someone need to introduce. We already said that the primitive steps has been done in the initial stage. Now the main thing is, if someone want to guide him to sexual education or to have an intimate relationship, he can show him some pictures or porn videos and ask them how to masturbate. And actually that person is actually cheating this girl.
Yes.
Just telling her how to do it, so that he is creating a way in this girl to enter in. So indirectly or directly, they are like birds has been chasing in the net without their knowledge. And once you're in the net, as masturbation is a very commonly addressed thing, that it's a quite common process. Actually, in a childhood thing, I would say it's an accident. It is not expected, because whatever teaching or training we need to tell the children, we need to tell them that you need to learn this. But no parents are talking about masturbation, and no teachers. Maybe sex education is taught, but still they are not telling about masturbation much, because the teacher may be shy or the students may be curious to know much more about it. So I would say, however it is been introduced, we need to learn how to stop so that it will not continue for a longer time.
True.
The adolescent age group or any age group in this time is using social media as a medium of sexting and virtual sex. So what they will do is, initially we know that the strangers are talking to all the people and all are interested to know more people.
Yes.
So it may be a healthy chat initially, but it can be misguided for unwanted things, or it can end up in a masturbation. So these are the different ways actually the masturbation can be introduced to a child or a person at any age group. What do you think? What can be the solution once the person is introduced?
So if we are talking about a child who is below 5 years, or let's say below 10 years, that child does not really understand or does not know that this is a wrong aspect, or that child does not have the understanding to know that what is happening is actually abuse.
Right.
If this is an adolescent, he or she is trying to explore more of it, or he or she comes in contact with these antisocial elements and they are being dragged in the wrong direction.
Yes.
But any person who understands that this is wrong, or this is something that they will have to first reach a point of realization that this other person is taking advantage of me.
Correct.
At that point, he or she will try to access some sort of help from someone. So the actual workaround to this, or the only point of help that can be offered, is through someone who's professional and someone who's trained in helping that person to come out of it. So for a child, this is actually traumatic.
Correct.
So they actually need help in coming out of such an experience, in helping them to remove that negativity out of them that was embedded in them at that young age. And for let's say an adolescent, or any person who is older than a teen maybe, so this has become a habit for them by then. So habits, to change that, they need therapy. They need help from a professional. So sooner the better, get help from someone.
Right. I think we answered the first question.
Mhm.
Let's go to the next question. So please take the next question.
Okay. So the next question says, at what point do we consider masturbation as a concern to be addressed?
If you think from the aspect of science,
Mhm.
masturbation is a healthy behavior
Mhm.
that need to be considered for the release of piled up emotions or stress,
True.
than, as so many people speaks, than committing an adultery
Mhm.
or being raped by someone. It's always good to masturbate and ventilate your feelings. And we talk this an addiction in science
Mhm.
when you are in a marriage relationship, that after a physical relationship with your spouse, you are not able to gratify your needs, and you end up in a masturbation to reach your peak level of gratification. Then we call it as an addiction. So addiction
Okay.
obviously needs a treatment, and there are different ways we can actually work on this particular issue, that either we can divert ourselves to a positive way, that is, we can go and do some exercise, and we can think that there are some good things I can make it. We can think about our education or some sports to divert ourselves than looking into our own body. But there are some people that, in order to avoid masturbation as an addiction, they may move into alcoholism or smoking, but it end up in another catastrophe. So please don't, I would advise the crowd not to divert to something else to give you a bad impact more than what masturbation can do to you. So what do you think about it?
So the thing is, it's like masturbation. At what point do you think it is a problem, or it is a problem? I would say that, from my belief as being a pastor, I would say that for us, or from a faith perspective, masturbation is actually feeding into a sexual appetite.
Right.
You have a sexual appetite. So what is happening is, this person goes behind closed doors. There's no inhibitions. He does not have to please anyone else. This is a point where he or she is pleasuring himself.
Correct.
There is no one to watch him, no one to judge that person. So this is an act where this person is feeding into that carnal nature.
Right.
So, but what Bible teaches us is, we are to suppress that carnal and fleshly nature,
Right.
and allow the spirit to be strengthened and have the nature of Christ within us. So the ultimate aim of a Christian is to have the likeness of Christ within him. So feeding into the carnal nature, or feeding into a lustful desire, or pleasuring oneself, is something that we should not do and is considered as a sin. So at what point is that a problem? I would say that masturbation itself is a problem, and we should try and avoid it as much as possible and get rid of it.
Okay. I think we have answered to the question from the scientific perspective as well as from a spiritual perspective. So we had come to the final question of this episode. So the question goes like this: church, parents, etc. do not address masturbation. As a teenager or as a person of any age group, who can I approach for help?
Okay, so if I am to talk from the perspective of the church, we need to understand the whole concept of church or the whole purpose of a church being in place. So, the first thing is that church is not a place for holy people.
Right.
It is a place where a sinner can approach God or come and he gets introduced to God.
Right.
So, first thing, I can say that there is a huge gap in understanding where this about this whole concept. So, church generally we see that a lot of people come and they put up an image of holiness,
Right.
and it's like they they do not have it in them to give space for a sinner among them.
Exactly.
But then the need of the hour is such that the church has to speak out. The church now has to have a clear message about these things. They have to address these issues, address these concerns. There has to be clarity about these topics in the church. So a church going person, let it be a youth or a young child, I would say that he should not have to rely on an external source for clarity on these things like masturbation or sexuality or any of these concepts. So I would say that yes, church is lagging behind on a very vast dimension in this aspect, because people shy away generally. The authorities, they shy away from talking about these things. But then there has to be clarity. What does the Bible say about this? Is this right? Is this wrong? The message has to be very clear. So that is something that is a responsibility of the church. At the same time, it's not just a priest or not just a pastor who has to take this responsibility. Any believer, so any person who is attending that church is equally responsible for identifying someone who is going through this difficulty, or if he gets to know about someone who is going through this difficulty. Everyone, each and every person in that church is responsible to help this person come out of this without being judgmental.
Right.
So that is the responsibility of the church, and we as a church we need to address these issues. So being a mother of two, or being a parent, how do you think a parent should address these concerns?
Yes, Sullivan, you spoke well about the church or church responsibility to take care of the youngsters or the people of the church. Before a child is being exposed to a church, the child is being to a family.
Yes.
Everyone in this world is given in one family, whereas a father and mother is the whole responsibility to mold that person.
Yes.
So I would say for any human being in this world, family is the safest place where he's been nurtured.
Yes.
So, but the concept of parenting is actually not that much that the child will go back to father or mother to ask what is masturbation.
True.
So I would say as parents we need to really buck up, or the kind of parenting what our parents have done to us, we need to actually rethink, and we need to refocus how I can make myself better for my child to come back to me. So I would say being a mother of twins, I express myself to them so that I can have a transparent relationship with them, so that anything happens to them, I want me to be the first person to know what is happening to Enoch and Keith. So I would say that not only should be in a younger age group, it should be continued. So for that, I need to walk with them. So to walk with them, I need to talk like them, or I need to be with them, and I need to be a little more transparent. Whatever questions they're asking, I need to give a genuine answer. I should not stop them, or I should not deviate them from that particular question. So this way I can relate to them. Now the thing is, as the child is growing up, his behavior changes or her behavior changes.
True.
Initially they may be relating to parents, later to friends. This is a part of their development. Still, we need to be in the shoes of the friend. so that we can accompany them, and we can have a look into the various activities they are doing, so that I'm able to understand what is my child is up to.
True.
So that this way I can be with them, so that he can come back to me and ask me, Mama, this thing has happened to me, what should I do?
True.
So I address all the parents or all the youngsters who's going to be a father or mother in the coming days, that we need to rethink on parenting and need to work in such a way that our teenager or a child who can be in the mess should come back to me and ask what is happening to me. So I think we had addressed this question very well.
True.
So as we are going to conclude this particular session, any final words?
So, in the Bible, we can see a portion where Jesus was dining with sinners and publicans. And the people who saw this, the so-called religious scholars of the time, they saw this and they asked this question: why is he sitting with sinners? And there was an answer that Jesus said, that only the sick need a physician. So, who needs help? The person who is in some sort of a dilemma, who is in some sort of an addiction, and that these people need help, and they don't know where to go to for help. They don't know whom to approach and with whom they can have a conversation where they will not be judged.
Right.
Because any person, if I have a problem and if I discuss it with someone, I always have that fear in the back of the mind: what is this person going to do with the piece of information that I gave? I'm giving out. So I'm not really secure in sharing my things with anyone. I have to be careful. That is the kind of world that we live in. So as believers, as a good human being, the least that we can do is, any person that is around me, if I can identify someone or anyone who needs help, I need to be that platform. I need to be that person who can be approached by others, anybody who needs help.
Yes, thank you so much, Solomon, for putting this much insight into a very good topic. I would say people are very confused and discussing more about this particular thing. And to the public out here, I would like to appreciate if anyone is struggling with this kind of topic and you don't have anyone, maybe the parents may not be open enough to approach this kind of issues. We are here to help you. Email ID as well as the contact numbers of our team members has been given in our channel, so that you can contact us. So till we are meeting the next time, stay safe, stay happy. Thank you.